Live. It stars Over the Prairie with 8-time Minnesota Music Award-winning songwriter, musician, author, and historian, Paul Metsa. Check out previous show podcasts at KDAL610.com. Now, here's Paul Metsa.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Stars Over the Prairie. This is your host, Paul Metsa, along with my wingman, Chris Allen. We've got a great show today. I am surrounded by friends, and people ask me, Chris, they go, what do you do on Stars Over the Prairie?
What do you do on Stars Over the Prairie?
That's exactly what it sounds like when they ask me, what do we do on Stars Over the Prairie? We interview stars, people that used to be stars, people that want to be stars, people that just want to crack a cold one and go at night and look at the stars. And it's significant that we are broadcasting in downtown in the Zenith City. By the unsalted sea. We are 238 somersaults directly down the hill from Bob Dylan's childhood home.
Is that going to change to 239 next year?
It might, if I, it might. Yes, it might. But we're going to be talking Dylan Fest with two wonderful and intelligent and fun women that I've had a pleasure of knowing for several years. We've got Sunbonnet Sue all the way up from Dallas, who comes up to help us out here in Duluth, and of course Zane Bale, one of the prime movers for Duluth Dylan Fest, which is starting tomorrow, the Duluth Dylan Fest 2026. And then after that, we have an old friend of mine, one of the smartest guys I know. I don't have a lot of smart friends, but he's one of them. Tim Rosenfield is a Duluth East graduate, circa 1973. He taught history and English at Breck School in the Twin Cities for years and years and years. Just recently retired, and he wrote a book on the 1970s, which was a beautiful decade.
But he's a double threat guest, isn't he?
He's also playing. He brought his 12-string guitar. And he wrote a book called A Deep Funk in Funky Town, America of the 1970s. And we're going to be hearing all about that book and find out how he got to be so smart. But Dylan, the Bard, is turning 85 years old a week from tomorrow. He was born May 24th in 1941 in St. Mary's Hospital that they recently tore down. And the guy's had quite a career, written over 600 songs, over 3,000 live performances. You name the award, he's got it. Probably one of the greatest was the 2016 Nobel Prize for Literature and more. But we're saluting him up here in Duluth starting tomorrow. But we'll hear a little bit of Bobby Dylan now and then get with my friend Sunbonnet Sue and Zane. That's such a beautiful version of that song. And Bob Dylan never gets enough credit for what a great acoustic guitar player he is. Do you agree with that, Zane Bale?
I certainly do.
Zane, thanks so much for coming. I know you've got a busy week ahead of you with the Duluth Dylan Fest. When did you get involved? When did this whole thing start?
Well, it started back around the time when Bob Dylan turned 60, when the city of Duluth, some folks in Duluth wanted to create a pathway to name after Bob Dylan. And so that's around the time I got involved. My late husband, Don Dass, was involved. Steve O'Neill, former commissioner, and he's passed on. And then city councilman Don Ness. And so we got that cultural pathway passed in 2006 and started celebrating Dylan's birthday at that time. And
then Councilman Don Ness became the mayor.
Yes, he did. Yep.
He's really done a lot for the artistic and certainly the musical scene here in Duluth during his term as mayor.
For sure.
And it's fun seeing he and his lovely wife are always out and about seeing the cool shows.
Yeah, we've had great support from the city of Duluth over the years, and we're so excited for the 2026 Dylan Fest that kicks off tomorrow, like you said.
And who is your guest?
Well, this is my partner in crime, Sunbonnet Sue, and she has dual residency in Dallas and Duluth. And she's a longtime fan and aficionado of all things Bob Dylan.
And Sunbonnet Sue, when did you get involved with the Dylan Fest?
Well, 15 years ago on Bob's birthday, I went to Hibbing, and Bill Pagel drove me over to Duluth, and that was it for me. The people, the place, the lake, everything. And ever since then, Duluth has been one of my homes and soon to be my only home.
Well, and let's tell the people about Bill Pagel, probably one of the foremost Dylan collectors of anybody in the world. I tell people, and he was my landlord for a year when I first moved up here, as I rented the first floor of Bob Dylan's childhood home. Totally enjoyable, but I tell people about Bill, who's, as you know, just a wonderful guy. I said, you're a big-time Bob Dylan collector when you own his house in Duluth and his house in Hibbing.
And his high chair.
And his what?
High chair.
And his high chair, yes. And I think his baby crib upstairs. I really enjoyed it when I was part of my renter's duties when I moved up. I moved into the house up on 3rd Avenue, just right up, boy, you could almost, if you had a slingshot, you could almost hit it from here. And they're going to be having an event in the front yard as part of the Dylan Fest. But it was part of my renter's duties was manning the guest book.
For sure.
And in the nice weather, every day from the first warm day of the spring till the last warm day of autumn, there'd be people out taking pictures. So if I was out having a cup of coffee on the front porch, I'd give them a little tutorial. If I was having something a little stronger in the evening and they stopped by before it got too dark to take pictures, I'd give them a tutorial. And then what I would do, Zane and Sunbonnet too, is everybody was so nice. There was everything from teenagers from Wisconsin youth camps to retirees in their RV traveling the country in their late 70s and early 80s. I would give them one of my CDs. And I told people, Chris, it was like the Jehovah's Witnesses in reverse. They came to the door and I gave them something.
That's awesome.
So tell us a little bit about John Bushy, because I know both you were very good friends with him. And when did he start his radio show, Highway 61?
Well, he started it back in 1992, around Bob Dylan's 50th birthday, up at then KUMD, and John was the host for 26 years and passed the torch to Miriam, who's been continuing the show today on the North 103.3, and it's on tonight at 5, so looking forward to listening to that too.
Oh, Miriam does a great job, and John did such
amazing.
A great job. And not only was he knew more about Bob Dylan than Bob Dylan, but he was also an amazing magician.
He sure was. And we have the John Bushy Memorial Lecture, and that will be a week from today over at the Zeitgeist. And Aaron Brown from the Iron Range is going to be our lecturer this year. Aaron
is a great writer. I've had him on the show a couple of times, and teaches in Hibbing, and did a really. We had him on a couple of months ago. He did a presentation about Dylan and the music he grew up listening to. Everything from the polka bands to the big bands to the 45s and 33 RPM records that he was surrounded with as a kid. Let's run through day by day, Zane Bale, what you've got going on, and Sunbonnet Sue, jump in at any time to further describe these great events for Duluth Dylan Fest 2026.
Okay, well, I am going to start. Tomorrow we have Hibbing Dylan Day in Hibbing, and we will be at Bob Dylan's boyhood home, owned by Bill Pagel, as you said. We're going to have live music by Jean LaFond and Amy Grillo at 10:30 to 11:30, and following that, there will be a tour of Hibbing High School, and Joe and Mary Keys will do that for us. Wanted to say we're hoping the weather holds, but if it doesn't, we were in the garage last year, and it was cozy and fun. A big, big garage. So,
well, and that's where Bob used to rehearse and play gigs for the neighborhood and his high school band, the Golden Chords. Now, if you want to drive up to Duluth, or if you're on the Iron Range and haven't been there, The Dillon Hibbing House, Zimmerman Hibbing House, call it what you want, is 2425 7th Avenue East in Hibbing, just a walk down the street. Sunbonnet Sue, what did you feel like the first time you walked into the gorgeous Hibbing High School?
Oh, I love it. And it's so unbelievable because there's Italian art, there's murals by 1930s muralists, there's Tiffany glass where the fire extinguishers are. It is fabulous.
And built for, in fact, Aaron Brown is doing a book on the mayor at that time back in the 20s. They did move North Hibbing south, but the mayor, and I don't know his name offhand, said, okay, you can move the town, but you got to build us a high school. And the mining companies built this high school for $4 million in 1924.
Wow.
What would that be today? $60 million?
Probably close to that, yeah.
Yeah.
What?
Well, then we're back in Duluth on Sunday evening at Mr. D's with the Shelter from the Storm supergroup, I'll call them, with local musicians, Todd James, Jane and Peter Ose, and others. And that's going to be a lot of fun in Duluth at Mr. D's, and we'll be dancing. And then
what time is that?
From 5 to 8 p.m.
Cool.
And, and folks can get all of our information on our DuluthDillonFest.com website or on our Facebook page. So we're looking forward to that. And then Monday we're having an acoustic jam over at Ursa Minor starting at 5. And then we're going to take a little break on Tuesday. You want to talk about Wednesday?
I'll let you talk about Wednesday.
Okay, I'll keep going on Wednesday. Okay. Well, Wednesday, I am so excited. Greg Taberzi, who typically plays on the front porch of Dylan's childhood home here in Duluth, is going to be doing a show with Aaron Aldridge from the Duluth Symphony and Sonia Borndahl, and they're doing the Complete Desire album. It's the 50th anniversary of Desire, and they're playing that at Sir Ben. So you want to be there at 4:30 to catch that.
Oh, for sure. Aaron Aldrich, we've had her on the show. She plays she's one of the concert directors for the Duluth Superior Symphony Orchestra. She also plays in a great band called Smoky Gold with Danny Frank. But she is not only one of the sweetest people I've ever met. She has the greatest tone on the violin of just about anybody I've heard. Scarlett Rivera would love Aaron Aldrich's playing.
Yeah.
Don't you think, Chris, you're a musician? When Aaron pulled out, she played a piece by Bach and then the Orange Blossom Special.
She can play fiddle or violin.
Yeah. Yes, she
and there's something to be said for that because it's a different style altogether, and she can handle any style.
And then after Greg and company are done playing, we're going to go over the bridge to the Superior Tavern for another jam session.
Very cool.
That'll run from 6 to 8 over at Superior Tavern.
And that will be any instruments, but it will have an electric focus and a drum set, unlike the acoustic day. So come on out.
Now, do either of you ladies play instruments? Do you play Dylan songs around the campfire?
A little bit, yeah. But I think we're going to be busy working, and so leaving our instruments at home. Maybe
somebody's
singing.
going to handle the festivities.
Yeah, no doubt. No, Thursday there's a big show too.
Yeah, Thursday we're really excited to highlight Thursday. We're going to have a party and a band, Cowboy Angel Blue, at the Train Museum, the Lake Superior Railroad Museum, 506 West Superior Street here in Duluth. We are working to bringing back the Blood on the Tracks Express. If any of you remember it, we used to have 2 bands, one in the front, one in the back, and go up the North Shore and have bands on the way back. We wanted to bring it back this year, but we were not able to because the 2 cars where the bands were and the food, very important, the food, were being renovated. So we are hoping next year to have the train ride again. So this is kind of our substitute. And your ticket to the concert includes ticket to the Train Museum, which has been voted top in the country several times, I think.
It's a beautiful museum.
Yeah, please come on out to that.
Yep. And then that gets us to Saturday, and like I said,
I think,
Friday. I missed Friday.
Well, and it's the singer-songwriter
contest.
We can't forget about that.
Yeah. Oh, the singer-songwriter contest is really literally one of my favorite Dylan Fest events, and we have a panel of great judges. We have 12 contestants, and it's going to be a great night. And that is an event we took over in 2015 when Hibbing Dylan Days wrapped up. And so they passed the torch to us, and we've been carrying that torch, and we hold that event at the beautiful Sacred Heart Music Center, and it's just such a lovely venue for folks to perform. And we do live stream that event, so we want to give the contestants a chance to be able to share, the video with folks that maybe they want to try to get a gig or, a grant or something like that. And the great John Bushy Memorial Lecture, Saturday, May 23rd at Zeitgeist in the Theater Teatro Zucconi. Tell us about that a little more. You mentioned it earlier, Zane. Yeah, we're just very excited to have Aaron Brown here with us. He's a columnist for the Minnesota Star Tribune and a writer, and has Minnesota Brown podcasts, and he's going to talk about Dylan's early influences, and we're really excited about that. And John's a special person to many of us on the committee, and we just are very happy that John's family allows us to honor his memory with this memorial lecture each year.
And that event is free, starts at 1:30 at Teatro Zucconi. And then my old buddy Dan Israel is coming up, and it's the Music of Bob Dylan concert. He's been up here before. Tell us about that. Either one of you ladies, please.
Well, we're excited to have Dan. It's been a couple years since he's been up to Duluth, and he's got his group of fabulous musicians who will be joining him, and it's going to be a high-energy, all-Dylan show at Sacred Heart. Tickets are $20 in advance, $25 at the door, and it's a great deal because you're going to get a night of fabulous music with Dan and friends.
And dancing.
Yes, dancing.
And I've seen this woman, Sunbonnet, Sue dance. She's got
the moves.
She's got the moves.
She sure does.
Hey, and then don't forget Saturday night tonight, and also every Saturday at 5 p.m. on 103.3 The North, the great Miriam, who took over the DJ chair from John Bushy. She always does such a great job presenting the music of Bob Dylan, both by Bob and other artists that have covered him. Now, Sunday, 1 week from tomorrow, the Front Porch Birthday Party. That's a good time.
Yes, this is one of our favorite events because it's a party. It's like a block party. So Greg Taberzi will be doing music on the porch. And also, Paul played a little bit one year. So, you never know who might be there. And
Mayor Reinert's going to join us, too, to give a welcome from the city of Duluth that day.
Cool.
Yes.
And that goes from 11 to 1.
Yes, and we're serving cake. We're bringing back cake this year. So if you're a cake fan.
Yeah, come and get some piece of birthday cake.
Yep.
Very cool. Now, it looks like there's a really cool event that night, actually on his birthday. Do you know anything about that, Jane?
I think that's going to be the icing on the cake, so to speak, for what we call the State Fair of Dylan Festivals, the Duluth Dylan Fest, May 17th through the 24th. And Mr. Paul Metsa and his partner in crime, I'll call him Sonny Earl, are going to be doing a great show. So tell us about it, Paul.
Well, it's going to be, we are going to do a set of Bob Dylan covers, songs, and we're going to pick up a couple that you might not have heard us do before, and a couple of songs by musicians that have influenced Bob, like Muddy Waters or Robert Johnson. And then I am digging into my personal archives to play. I've got just a choice half-hour interview that I recorded in 2009 with B.J. Rolfson, who was Bob's high school humanities and English teacher. Bob told him on one of his visits to Duluth, they were actually, I believe, at a funeral, and they went back to the Zimmerman household, and Bob walked up to B.J. Rolfson and said, B.J., you are my biggest influence. Mm-hmm. So I've got a half hour, just great. You can see into the brilliance of B.J. Rolfson, and then I've got some footage with I was one of the guys that put together the $1 Million Bash in 2001, Dylan's 60th birthday party. We had 40 bands on 2 stages at First Avenue and 7th Street entry, and I was able to put 5 of the 6 guys from Blood on the Tracks. They picked up the torch to finally get their credit on the record, which they didn't get when Blood on the Tracks came out in 1975. So they eventually got it, and I had them on my television show, Wall of Power TV. So we're going to be playing a little bit of that with 5 or 4 of the original members, and then we had Chris Webber and Bill Berg on by Skype. So we're going to do that, play some music, and then afterwards I've kind of added to it. The Alhambra Theater was a 1913 theater that was rediscovered and rehabbed by Bob Boone and the Duluth Reader. And I have to think, because it was going on for about 30 years, that Abe and Beatty Zimmerman, or certainly cousins, might have gone to that theater. So we're going to be back kind of in that home ground territory. And then afterwards there's a lounge, and we're going to be rocking some Bob Dylan bootlegs over a really nice sound system.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
So it's going to be a beautiful event.
Good thing it's a holiday the next day, because we're going to need it.
You guys are working hard. Thanks so much for being and doing so much. Sunbonnet, what do you look forward to next week? Do you have anything in particular that you really love?
You know, I'm big on birthday parties, and so the parties at the houses, I run them, and I really like the birthday parties. But everything is wonderful. And I wanted to just add to what you said and give a nod to the beautiful renovation at the Alhambra.
Yeah.
And I believe today or tomorrow is the 1-year anniversary from its opening. So if you haven't been out there, go out, because it is perfect, beautiful, period place, and a lovely atmosphere.
Yeah, and tickets for my show, which is Bob Dylan's big 85th birthday bash in his hometown. You can get them at the West Theater. Theater is Theatre, westtheater.com. Zane, what are you looking forward to? The whole thing being over so you can get a couple days sleep?
I'm just looking forward to being with a great group of friends, and looking forward to meeting new friends, and which we do every year.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about it. I wanted to ask you. So I've met people when I've been with Sunbonnet Sue in front of the Dylan House right up the street in Duluth. There's people from all over the country.
All over the country and all over the world. So we don't know who we're going to meet, but there's always an international crowd. There's always people from all over the country and all over Minnesota and Wisconsin. And just thank you, Paul, for all you've done to keep Bob Dylan in the forefront and just really help all of us remember that he comes from the North Country, and it's just like, it still gives me goosebumps when I think about that. So,
yeah, well, he's, one of the reasons why I love the guy, and there's several reasons why, is he's from the Iron Range. I remember when I was 14 years old, hitchhiking over from my hometown of Virginia, which is 22 miles east, standing in front of those front doors at 2425 7th Avenue in Golden. Young man that walked out of those doors is changing American culture as we speak. And one of the big lessons for me was, you can get there from here. Zane Bale, Sunbonnet Sue, have a beautiful week. I'm sure I'll be bumping into you here and there. And where can, what's the website so people...
For all the latest information, DuluthDylanFest.com, or find us on Facebook, and you can get links to tickets, including Paul's show on May 24th. So thank you.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you very much. You're listening to Stars Over the Prairie. We have the great Tim Rosenfield coming up. Duluth East grad, 1973, author, historian, and writer, and he brought his guitar. So don't touch that dial.
At Sunrise Funeral Home, Crematory, and Cemetery, we offer membership-level pricing without the membership fees. Just honest service you can feel from the moment you walk through our doors. To us, you are not a number, you're our neighbor. As family-owned and operated, we are committed to fair, transparent pricing and will always work with families to ensure services remain accessible. We're so confident in our pricing, we encourage you to shop other funeral homes and call us last. We also meet or beat any at-need direct cremation price in the Minnesota Twin Ports area. If finances are a concern, ask us about Minnesota burial and cremation assistance. We will help determine if your loved one qualifies and guide you through the entire process with care and compassion. We never turn away a family in need, no matter your financial circumstances. Call Sunrise Funeral Home, Crematory, and Cemetery today and experience the Sunrise difference at 218-727-6869.
It's time to subscribe to the region's premier magazine, Lake Superior Magazine. Expert photography, interesting articles, and upcoming events for you in the area. To subscribe, go to lakesuperior.com. 4 seasons, 3 states, 2 countries, and 1 Great Lake. For more information and to subscribe to Lake Superior Magazine, go to lakesuperior.com.
I'm Lucas, and I had Z-LASIK at Weiss Eye Center. Went great. Little to no pain yesterday. Surgery went great. Everything else, went home, took a nap, woke up, and haven't really had any pain since. Everybody was super nice and talked you through every step of the way, and I barely had to ask any questions because they knew what to say. They filled it all in. For me, it'll just be snowmobiling's my big one. I try to do a lot of riding in the winter. I farm in the summer, so this year was a big difference where a couple of times I had to borrow somebody's helmet so I put my glasses on and ride because just the weather conditions, everything else, out there riding blind. So I'm really excited for that. It's well worth the money, and it's going to change my life for a long time, I'll tell you that.
Weiss Eye Center is the only clinic to offer blade-free Z-LASIK in the Northland. To find out more and to arrange your free consultation, call 218-625-1917 today or visit weisseyecenter.com for more information. Weiss Eye Center. See the best.
Behind every moment, there's a feeling of happiness, of security. Behind every dream, there's a spark.
We got the house.
With every challenge, just one more step, there's a safety net. Behind every victory, yes, there's a team. Behind every moment, there's Bell Bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Hi, this is Paul Metsa, host of Stars Over the Prairie on Northern News Radio since 2024. Over the past 40 years, I've been a musician, songwriter, and social activist. My new album, Songs of Resistance and Resolve, is a 14-song compilation of socially relevant songs written between 1984 to 2025. We're living in the darkest time in our democracy, so I've decided to let everybody stream or download the whole album for free at paulmetsa.com. My goal is to bring these songs to press, radio, and fellow patriots like yourselves, and you can help that campaign by donating to my Venmo account at Paul-Metsa. I hope these songs will help people enjoy what Steve Earle calls the healing powers of protest music. Like I say in my No Kings, No Crown, it's good to remember and times this by 10, there's way more of us than there are of them. Go to paulmetsa.com for details.
This is Teague Alexi, and you're listening to Stars Over the Prairie with Paul Metsa.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Stars Over the Prairie. Make sure you check out all the great Dylan-related stuff as part of the Duluth Fest 2026. We want to thank our guests, Sunbonnet Sue and Zane Bale, for being part of it. Chris, turn me up just a little bit, my headphones, please, so I can hear the dulcet tones of my guest, an old friend of mine, Tim Rosenfield. I can't remember when I met him. Might have been late 70s through our mutual friend, Tom Griffith. He's a Duluth East grad from 1973, what I like to say is graduate and survivor of Duluth East High School. And he's a longtime educator, and I was really happy to hear that he had published a book called A Deep Funk and Funky Town, America in the 1970s, and you were talking to a guy that loved America in the 1970s. Tim, it's so great to see you again.
Hey, Paul, thanks a lot. I think I can hear myself a little bit here.
All right, turn them up a little.
Down below. There's a volume right down below. You got control then.
There we go. Is that
beautiful?
There we go.
So, Tim, how long did you teach at Breck?
I taught there for 40 years.
Wow. What?
Long time.
And what courses were you teaching?
I taught in the upper school. There's 3 divisions of the school: lower school, middle school, upper school, which is where I was, 9th through 12th grade. And I taught in all of those areas. I did sort of the mandatory courses like U.S. history, But then I also did my own elective courses, and I did whatever Breck would allow. I did all kinds of stuff. World War II. My specialty is the Supreme Court and Constitution. Russian history is what I did my degrees in.
Wow.
Did medieval and modern Russia. Did Greek and Roman history, civil rights movement. Taught a course on Dylan one spring there. I've taught a Beatles class for about 30 years there.
Wow.
So I kind of run the gamut. Film history, utopian studies. Did a lot.
Well, for some of your friends that might be out there just tuning in, Stars Over the Prairie, and hearing their old buddy Tim Rosenfield, I know I can point to one or two teachers that really, the lessons I learned from them and the encouragement I got stick with me to this day. So when you're growing up in Duluth, who was an educator that influenced you, that might have even pointed you in the direction that you headed off into?
That's a good question. It's kind of a hard question. I have to be honest and say not much in the formal school.
Okay.
I was getting a lot of education in the parking lot mostly.
Well, it was the 70s.
But I did, there were some teachers who I had some real respect for, but I wasn't really ready to listen to too much. But when I hit college, that's where I really encountered the people who had a tremendous impact on me.
And where did you go to college?
I went to UMD.
Okay, really?
Yeah. Did my undergraduate there and then my master's there.
So we still living with Mom and Dad?
I moved out of my house when I was, I think, 15 and lived in a commune.
Really?
Yeah. Out in Lakeside.
God bless you and your fellow communers.
Yeah.
So what,
70s.
Yeah, so what, did you have any inkling on what direction you were going to go, or you were just kind of taking classes as they came?
No, that's a good question. Once I got to college and I got serious about whatever I was doing, I really was focused on being a professor. That's where I was. So I didn't do a Bachelor of Science. I didn't want to teach I didn't prepare for teaching in a public school or anything. I studied so I'd be a college professor.
Right.
And I was going to be a college professor in Russian history. So after my master's, I went to IU in Bloomington and started my PhD work in Russian studies, Russian history. But that dovetailed with the Iranian Revolution. And I knew pretty quick that Russian studies was going to get supplanted by Middle East studies, and that the departments were going to be retrenching the Russian history and bringing on Middle East stuff.
Wow.
So I knew that the market would shrink, and I'd be competing with guys from Poland who had 7 languages from birth.
Right.
And I thought, well, what's next? And I thought, well, maybe a private school, because I don't have to have a teacher degree to be in a private school. And I lucked out. First job I interviewed with down in Minneapolis was Breck School. I'm 25 years old, and I stayed there until I retired in 2021.
Because I played in Minneapolis for years and years and years. And I have to give you your props, Tim Rosenfield. How many, there's been at least a half a dozen either parents or students, parents who's had kids studying with you, or students when they go, and when I said, where'd you go? Breck, I said, Tim Rosenfield. Oh, he was my favorite teacher.
Well, that's very kind of you to say. I mean, when you teach in a private school, it's a very different environment. These students become really quite close with you.
Yeah.
Some of my classes would be 10 students.
Wow.
I'd go travel with them. I'd go to Dallas, I did a research project on the Kennedy assassination. I'd take kids with me to Dallas. We'd meet people. The guy who headed the Kennedy Review Board is a Minnesotan. We'd talk with him all the time.
Yeah, what is that guy's name?
Schlitz.
Yeah.
He's a judge now. We went to the Supreme Court often.
Okay, well, let me, because I've got Will Jones for the JFK assassination, and Jack Ruby. So So what is your conspiracy take? Who was it?
Well, listen, I spent 2 years, and I mean, when I say deep dive,
Yeah.
I mean a deep dive. We had every kind of person who knew anything about the Kennedy, a woman who was a kind of girlfriend of Lee Harvey Oswald, who worked with him at the coffee company. She spoke to my class.
Wow.
We had some of the big, there's a lot of academic guys, really eminent professors who are in the conspiracy thing, and we've had them come to my class and talk about what they think. On the 50th anniversary, we were down there.
Wow.
And we were in the theater where they arrested Oswald.
Yeah.
And they were showing Oliver Stone's movie.
Huh.
And a Dutch film crew was filming this whole event.
Right.
So we were there for that. We got to talk to, so many people were there. It's like a mecca, of course, when the assassination happens. But that was the first year that Dallas recognized it.
Right.
For obvious reasons. It's kind of a horrible, tragic thing, and you don't celebrate that. But it was a memorial.
But you have to commemorate it.
Yeah, and David McCullough, the historian, was there, and so I brought students. We were there for that.
Wow.
It was great.
Now that...
but that just goes back to why you get to know these kids really well at Breck.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a different thing.
Now, one other question about Dallas. I really thought they did a very objective take with the Sixth Floor Museum.
Yeah.
In terms of the history.
Yeah.
And my thing is that, I'm not convinced that Oswald either was the shooter or was not the shooter. But when you sit, and that's when you can look in and you can't get right next to it, but the sixth floor window at the depository, which was open, where supposedly Oswald shot, the really, as somebody that's, been partridge hunting, the shot is when it's coming down Houston Street.
Yeah.
Right? That's the straight-on shot. When they take the left on Elm when he's driving away, that was the one that said, there's something funky going on here.
But it is quite an experience to look through that window.
Oh, yeah.
And right down on Elm Street and go. Because, I was in grade school. You were sent home that day.
Oh, yeah.
That.
Well, and I didn't put it together until just within the last year that, the great horror flick, Nightmare on Elm Street.
I know.
Got the idea from that particular Elm Street. Have you ever been over to Russia?
Yeah, I took students there.
Wow.
Right after Chernobyl.
Wow.
We were we almost canceled it, but we have a lot of networking at Breck, and we felt we were pretty safe. We obviously took Kiev off our roster.
Yeah.
And we went to Tallinn in Estonia instead of that. And we spent a few days up there, and then a week in Moscow and a week in St. Petersburg.
Did you ever learn any Russian?
Oh, yeah. I took Russian at IU.
Really?
Yeah.
Tell me, can you say, you are listening to Paul Metsa?
I can't. I can't do that.
Yeah, right. Wise guy. Yeah. We look behind the
radio.
Curtain.
There's just English words there. I mean, you just do that.
Well, if you would have said something, I would have said placebo.
Oh, spasibo большое. Yeah.
Hey, we got Tim Rosenfield on, great educator. He wrote a book called A Deep Funk and Funky Town. Should we let's hear from some of the great people that keep us on the air, and then we're going to talk about his book, and he's going to brought his 12-string guitar. He's going to play some music for us on Stars Over the Prairie.
Behind every moment, there's a feeling of happiness, of security. Behind every dream,
order up.
There's a spark.
We got the house.
With every challenge,
just one more step,
there's a safety net. Behind every victory,
yes,
there's a team. Behind every moment, there's Bell Bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
I'm Sydney, and I had Z LASIK at Weiss Eye Center. Oh man, camping and like being able to look up at the stars, or like wake up to the stars, or wake up to the sun, and not have to kind of fumble around to see where my glasses are. So I'm looking forward to that eventually. It's like getting out and enjoying nature with sort of no barrier. Oh, the staff were really great. yeah, it was really, always felt pretty taken care of, and very friendly staff, and they were answering my questions even if they were like really, really trivial. It's something that you gotta have like sort of a bit of trust in this doctor.
Weiss Eye Center is the only clinic to offer blade-free Z LASIK in the Northland. To find out more and to arrange your free consultation, call 218-625-1917 today or visit weisseyecenter.com for more information. Weiss Eye Center. See the best.
At Sunrise Funeral Home, Crematory, and Cemetery, we offer membership-level pricing without the membership fees. Just honest service you can feel from the moment you walk through our doors. To us, you are not a number, you are a neighbor. As family-owned and operated, we are committed to fair, transparent pricing and will always work with families to ensure services remain accessible. We're so confident in our pricing, we encourage you to shop other funeral homes and call us last. We also meet or beat any at-need direct cremation price in the Minnesota Twin Ports area. If finances are a concern, ask us about Minnesota burial and cremation assistance. We will help determine if your loved one qualifies and guide you through the entire process with care and compassion. We never turn away a family in need, no matter your financial circumstances. Call Sunrise Funeral Home, Crematory, and Cemetery today and experience the Sunrise difference at 218-727-6869.
Hi, this is Paul Metsa, host of Stars Over the Prairie on Northern News Radio since 2024. Over the past 40 years, I've been a musician, songwriter, and social activist. My new album, Songs of Resistance and Resolve, is a 14-song compilation of socially relevant songs written between 1984 to 2025. We're living in the darkest time in our democracy, so I've decided to let everybody stream or download the whole album for free at paulmetsa.com. My goal is to bring these songs to press, radio, and fellow patriots like yourselves, and you can help that campaign by donating to my Venmo account at Paul-Metsa. I hope these songs will help people enjoy what Steve Earle calls the healing powers of protest music. Like I say in my No Kings, No Crown, it's good to remember and times this by 10, there's way more of us than there are of them. Go to paulmetsa.com for details.
Hey, this is Charlie Parr. You are listening to Stars Over the Prairie radio show with Paul Metsa on KDAL 610 AM or 103.9 on your FM dial.
Welcome back to Stars Over the Prairie. This is your host, Paul Metsa. A little reminder once again, 1 week from tomorrow on Bob Dylan's 85th birthday to the day, I am going to be doing the big Bob Dylan hometown 85th birthday bash at the Alhambra Theater with my buddy Sonny Earle. We're going to be playing some choice Bob Dylan covers, musicians that were influenced Bob, and we're going to have a discussion. I'm going to read some of the stuff I've written about Bob over the years and had published, and we're going to be playing some stuff from my personal video archives on the screen. So go to westtheater.com and pick up tickets. There's only 60 seats there, so get on it and look forward to seeing you. And I might bump into you over the week during Duluth Dylan Fest. My guest, Tim Rosenfield, has a new book out that I'm very excited to get in the mail a while ago. I've been dipping in and out of it as time allows, called A Deep Funk and Funky Town. Professor Rosenfield, when did you decide to put this collection together?
Well, the thing is, Paul, when I taught at Breck, one of the things that they let me do was write my own curricular material.
Yeah.
So for whatever course I was teaching, I was writing the stuff for that. They weren't textbooks. Well, I like to call them conversation starters. So whatever it was, American history, World War II, Russian history, I would write that for the students.
Right.
And I knew the students. I knew their humor. I knew their workload in terms of how busy they were.
Right.
I wanted to make something that was accessible, that would give them enough information so that when they came to class, we'd then talk about it and flesh it out.
Mm-hmm.
So we'd fill it out that way. Because I was never a lecturer. I was a facilitator of conversations. So
Right.
I got to know the kids really well and what they thought about stuff. So I just wrote all the time, my own stuff. And then when I retired, it was kind of like, I How do you turn that off?
Right.
It wasn't a dial. It was like a switch.
Right.
So I keep writing every day, and I kept thinking about my students. And now that they're not in my visual field,
right,
I'd imagine, okay, I'm writing to them still. And if I were teaching a class on the 70s, what would I put in there?
Right.
So this comes out of that teaching experience of writing all the time and trying to introduce information to people about something.
And you've got to tell us, the people, about the blog you have. I read that's fascinating.
Well, that's kind of the big deal, because the only place you can buy the book is at this blog that we've set up. My wife Kathy, who's a brilliant designer in many other ways too, but she did the cover design for the book. I did the drawings, and she did all the design.
It's a great looking
isn't it beautiful?
Collection. Yeah, it's really well done.
So what she put together for me to open the doors to my classroom again is a blog, which we call Facing History. Facing because I like to humanize people. These aren't stick figures. These are real people. They lived long ago. They're just as real as you and me,
right,
in their own time. So Facing History was intentional about how I approached that.
And so the actual web address is
facinghistoryblog.com. So that's where they can go and read a bunch of stuff that I write on a daily basis. Other historical matters like about Yvonne the Terrible or John Kennedy in outer space and all sorts of stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Tim Rosenfield, you are up. You're doing a private event for the release of your book, but you've also been playing guitar. Is probably did a lot of practice when you're living back in the commune in the early 70s. So what are we going to hear? I'm excited to
when you
listen
said bring a 12-string, I thought, look, that's a different list of songs.
Yeah.
And I what do I want to do? Dylan, my own stuff. Unlike you, Paul, when I play in any way, where in any sort of group of people, you know how German shepherds cock their heads and kind of like, I see that a lot.
Right.
Why? Because I tend to choose obscure songs.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do an old Paul Simon about Dylan.
Oh, perfect.
Okay? When he was dealing with the Bob. I've been Norman Maillard, Maxwell tailored. I've been John O'Hara, McNamara. I've been Rolling Stone and Beatle till I'm blind. I've been Ayn Randed, nearly branded a communist, 'cause I'm left-handed. Well, that's the hand to use. Well, never mind. I've been Phil Spectored, resurrected. I've been Lou Adler, Barry Sadler. Oh, well, I paid all the dues I want to pay. And I've learned the truth from Lenny Bruce, that all my wealth won't buy me health, and so I smoke a pipe of tea a day. I knew a man whose brain's so small, couldn't think of nothing at all. Not the same as you and me. He doesn't dig poetry. He's so unhip when you say Dylan. He thinks you're talking about Dylan Thomas, whoever he was. The man ain't got no culture. But it's all right, Ma. Everybody must get stoned. I've been Mick Jaggered and Silver Daggered. Andy Warhol, won't you please come home? I've been mothered, fathered, aunt and uncle, Roy and Allied and Art Garfunkel, and I just discovered somebody's tapped my phone. Folk rock. There you go.
Oh, that was incredible. That was the perfect choice. What was the name of that song?
A simple Philippic desultory, or how I was Robert McNamara into submission.
Very, very cool.
The lesser known.
Yeah, no. I've heard that way back in the day. So now, Tim Rosenfield, you are retired, but you're still writing. What kind of traveling have you and your lovely wife been doing? Anything fun lately?
Well, she also just stepped away from her working world for a little while. So one of the things we wanted to do, I've never done this, is go to Hawaii.
There you go.
So we flew over to Maui last September and spent about a couple of weeks, and that was, I can see why people go to Hawaii.
Yeah, right.
That is, you unplug.
Right.
It's really a beautiful thing. But we are kind of like in the age now where our children are having the grandkids.
Right.
So we travel around to go see our grandkids too, in Toronto or in Utah. So a little bit of that kind of stuff, but we'll see.
Well, and we just have not a lot of time left. We'll have to have you on again because you are a kind of an expert on the Supreme Court. And boy, do we have a Supreme Court here that is worth talking about, for better or for worse. Yeah. Anyway, so you're up, and does it feel good? You get up to your hometown much up here in Duluth?
Not as much as we want to.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's just a couple hours away, but love being up in Duluth, and with the weather the way it is now, you can't beat it.
This has been the greatest day so far.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tim Rosenfield. Thanks for listening to Stars Over the Prairie, my big Bob Dylan birthday show, Sunday, May 24th at the Alhambra Theater. You can follow me at paulmetsa.com. And I'm playing tonight from 6 to 8 p.m. at Carmody's Irish Pub, 308 East Superior Street, no cover. And remember, like my dad used to tell me, be kind and make someone happy.
And I wish I could see stars over the prairie, stars over the prairie tonight. And I wish I could see stars over the prairie, stars over the prairie tonight. And I wish I could see stars over